Any of you remember back in high school when you would try and log into Facebook and the website was blocked? You'd be in that same exact situation while you're at home on the internet connection that you pay for if it weren't for net neutrality. Net neutrality is an essential policy that prevents internet service providers from throttling download speeds, blocking websites, and setting rules over governing the internet. I will explain to you how you can prevent your cable company from dictating what you do on the internet. The concept of net neutrality is what keeps the internet service providers from making up their own rules to govern over the internet. When the internet was first invented, it was designed to be free and open for anyone to use and free of any government regulation. The internet is the greatest invention of a mass communication method since the invention of the printing press. Americans have had the freedom of the press since the inception of our country. Tomorrow, on March 23, 2017, the Senate votes on the ability of ISPs to sell customers' browsing data. This infringes on our right to unnecessary searches and seizures and government spying. This goes beyond government spying, giving away our privacy to corporations. The corporations, they may not have the same level of ethics that the government has when it comes to handling this data. The problem is that in most areas, there is no competition between internet service providers, or ISPs for short. Meaning that if we only have one choice of cable company if we want internet access. This makes it hard for the American people to keep their freedom of speech and press, since most of major providers will partake in selling Americans' privacy. According to SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son, on March 14, 2014, 30% of Americans only have access to a single ISP, meaning that if they don't like their ISPs, they can't switch. And if net neutrality is abolished, your cable company will be able to dictate what you can and can't do on the internet, restricting your freedom of speech, even to go as far as selling your browsing history. Now, without net neutrality, not only could ISPs set their own rules for the internet, they could pick and choose what websites or content that can be accessed by their customers. Currently, with net neutrality under FCC regulations, there is a no blocking rule, which states that broadband providers may not block access to legal content, applications, services, or non-harmful devices. Internet service providers have the ability to block IP ranges of specific websites or even IP ranges of entire countries and continents. Imagine if this was abused during an election year, favoring one political campaign over another. The consequences of this could completely undermine our election system. The internet is a utility. Think about how you would react if LG&E didn't allow you to supply electricity to your Samsung branded microwave because Samsung didn't sign a contract with them allowing their products to be used. Imagine what the internet is like in China, where the government keeps a tight control over what information is available to people. They don't have access to Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Could you imagine if your ISP said you couldn't visit those websites because they take up too much bandwidth? Now, when an internet service provider reduces your internet speeds below what they are capable of providing, this is called throttling. Throttling of internet speeds based on the website being accessed is prohibited while under the rules of open internet. And I quote the FCC, "Broadband providers may not impair or degrade lawful internet traffic on the basis of content, applications, services, or non-harmful devices." Yet, it still happens. Most famously, Comcast, one of the biggest internet service providers, started throttling connections to Netflix in 2013. Reports from Zero Hedge on February 23, 2014 show that Netflix reported download speeds that were lowered 27% in October 2013. An ISP throttling connections to a specific website is like a 30-year-old bullying a 13-year-old. It's not a fair fight, but the 13-year-old might surprise us all and put up a fight. According to Sandvine's Global Internet Phenomena Report for the second half of 2013, Netflix consisted of 28.18% of internet traffic, putting the video streaming service in the number one spot on top. Netflix had to cave in to the demands of Comcast and provided payment in order to prevent Comcast from throttling connections to Netflix. The internet is a market in itself, and dictating the allowed speed for a certain website could ruin a company financially when it comes to a video streaming service, and this could affect the economy negatively. What would have happened if Netflix didn't give in to Comcast's demands? Would the FCC continue to allow Comcast to bully Netflix? Now, if you can't last a day without binge watching Netflix or checking your Twitter feed on your phone, talking to you, please write your congressman and voice your opinions on the importance of net neutrality. If you're in Kentucky, like me, you can connect with Rand Paul through a form on his website, paul.senate.gov, and Mitch McConnell at mcconnell.senate.gov. There have been numerous attempts in the past decade to abolish net neutrality, and some have been dangerously close to passing. We cannot let our congressmen ignore our voice. We must let them know that the internet is a means of freedom of speech. Net neutrality is what keeps internet service providers from making up their own rules to govern the internet. Without net neutrality, not only could ISPs set their own rules for the internet, they could pick and choose what content could be accessed using their connection. And ISPs can reduce your internet speeds below what they are capable of providing. Net neutrality is an institution that prevents internet providers from throttling download speeds, blocking websites, and setting rules governing the internet. Such a high level of authority over our daily lives, given that to corporations, it's a scary, un-American idea. And I hope that you can work with me and the rest of internet enthusiasts to keep the open internet alive.